At the end of this lesson, students are expected to appropriately identify the correct use of the regular and irregular verb in the sentence. Second one, apply a regular and irregular verb correctly through the integration of a group task. Third, demonstrate understanding of a verb tense. Everybody please stand. Grace and public will please lead a prayer. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen. So, how's your day? Is it good so far? Well, very good. Let's have first a sort of energizer. Every time I say alive, everyone should respond, I'm alive, and put your hands up. And when I say alert, everyone will respond, I'm alert, and put your hands down. So are you ready? Well, let's start. Alive, alive, alert, alive, alert, alert, alive, alive. Well, very good. Thank you so much. So everyone, be seated. Now, let's check first your attendance. Just say present when I call your name. Ella Rose Abunyawan. Jeremy Nombre.
Present.
Okay, all are present. Before we start, let's have first a recap. Now, who among you here can still remember the regular and irregular verb? Anyone can define a regular and irregular verb? Yes, Hernan? Janeline? Yes, Judy Ann? Okay. Can you give one example of a regular and irregular verb? Anyone? Well, let's talk about it later. Before we dive into our proper discussion, let's have first a game. So this is what we call what's on the box. So let's assume that this is really a box. As you can see, I have here a small white box, and it consists of verbs in the present tense form. Some of them are regular and irregular verbs. Now, all you have to do is to repeat this line while passing the ball around. And when I say stop, the person holding the ball will pick a verb card inside the box and to tell the correct past tense form of that verb. If you have no idea what's the answer, then you can now ask help from your classmates. Are you ready? So here we go.
A few moments later.
As you can see, here are the list of words inside the box. There are 10. The first one is bring. The past tense of bring is brought. So that's the example of a regular verb. The second one we have call. The past tense of call is called. Come, came, a regular verb. Show, showed. Carry, carried. Grow, grow. It is example of a regular verb. Run, run. A regular verb also. Eat, eat. Dance, danced. Create, created. So that's example of regular verb. Now, let's proceed to our proper discussion. Let's have first an overview of English verb forms. Every verb in English can have a base form, an ing form, a past simple form, and a past participle. We use the base form for the present simple tense. For example, they live in room. The infinitive. For example, I want to learn English. To learn is the example of infinitive verb. So what is infinitive? Infinitive is obtained by adding the suffix to in front of the verb or thing in plain form. Just like gerund, it is a named verb that can be used in the case of a subject or object in a sentence. it can be a single word or sometimes it can be a group of words. We use the ing form or the gerund for continuous tenses like the present continuous. For example, he's working. Verbs as nouns. For example, swimming is good for you. Although swimming is example of verb word, but it functions in the sentence as a noun. Verb as a noun. And we use the past participle for the perfect tenses, like the present perfect. For example, I've finished. The passive form. For example, the boy was beaten by the dog. So what makes a sentence become a passive voice? In a sentence using passive voice, the subject is acted upon. He or she receives the action expressed by the verb. So here in the sentence, the dog is acting upon the sentence subject, which is the boy, meaning it uses the passive voice. Adjectives. Example, the chair is broken. So, the chair is being described as broken. So, this is an example of past participle for adjective. Now, let's talk about regular verbs and irregular verbs. Let's discuss about regular verbs. What are regular verbs? Regular verbs follow the same pattern and create the past simple and the past participle using the same word ending ed. The base form are arrive and call. The past simple of arrive is arrived. You have to add ed, and the past participle is also arrived. Call, the past simple is called, and the past participle is also called. So, meaning to say, you have just to add ed to make it past simple and past participle. If the verb ends in a consonant and y, we change the y to I and added ed. For example, here the base form marry and study. So the past simple of marry is married because we have to change y into I and add ed to make it past simple. And the past participle of marry is married. Study, studied. And the past participle is studied. If a verb ends in e, we simply add d. For example, the base form are hate, like. So, since hate, the last letter is e, so we have just to add d to make it past simple and past participle. Hate, past simple is hated, and past participle is also hated. Like, liked, and past participle is liked. Here are some examples of a regular verb in a sentence. The first one, yesterday, Jack studied all day. So studied an example of regular verb. Raul has accepted the job offer. Accepted is also the example of regular verb. Have you finished yet? Finished is example also of regular verb. Let's talk about irregular verbs. What are irregular verbs? There are about 200 irregular verbs in English. We can divide these into 4 types. The first one, we have verbs which have the same base form, past simple and past participle. Second, verbs which have the same past simple and past participle. Third, verbs which have the same base form and past participle. And the last one is verbs which have different base form, past simple and past participle. Here are the example of the verb which have the same base form, past simple and past participle. As you can see, the base form are cost and hurt. The past simple is also cost. Past participle, cost. Hurt, hurt. And the past simple is hurt because it's no longer be hurted, right? That's wrong. So the past participle and past simple of hurt is also hurt. Alright. For example, our car cost a lot of money but it's always breaking down. Pasha hurt himself in a soccer match last weekend. Here are the examples of verbs which have the same past simple and past participle. We have here bring, hear, send, win, and read. So the past simple of bring is brought. The past participle is also brought. Hear, heard, heard. Send, sent, sent. Win, won, won. Read, read, read. So by the way, in base form, read, it varies to the pronunciation when it is past simple or past participle. So it should be read, not read. Alright. Example, have you heard the news about train strike? Team has sent an email to all the suppliers. And here are the examples of verbs which have the same base form and past participle. The base form, come, become, and run. So the past simple of come is came. The past participle is also come. Become, became, and the past participle is become. Run, the past simple is run, and past participle is run. Example, he came back home at 4 a.m. on Saturday. Susie has become the managing director. And lastly, here are the examples of verbs which have a different base form, past simple and past participle. Here, the base form are begin, take, write. So the past simple of begin is began, the past participle is began, but the letter A was changed to letter U to make it past participle in began. Take, took, and taken. Write, wrote, and written. Example, has she taken her tickets yet? The second example, I've written a letter of application for the manager's job. Now, let's proceed to our activity. So I will group you into two. This side will be the group 1 and this side will be the group 2. Now, listen up. I will call the first team as the present form and the second team as the past form. For group 1, each member from your team will write a one sentence on the board using regular verb. The present form team will use present form of the verbs. Meaning to say, if you have 10 members from your group, you have also to write 10 sentences on the board using present form of the verbs. While group 2, each member from your team will write a sentence using one irregular verb. The past form team will use past form of the verb. So the group 2, you have to use past form of the verbs. Understand? Okay, I will give you 15 minutes to do your activity.
A few moments later.
For group 1, out from the sentence you have written on the board, I would like you to tell us what's the past tense verb form of each regular verb. And for group 2, tell us what is the present tense or base form of the irregular past tense verb you have written on the board. Okay.
A few moments later.
Very good, group 1 and group 2. For group 1, let's give them an Aling Dunisha clap. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Very good, very good, very good. Okay. For group 2, let's give them a Coca-Cola clap. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Shh. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I am very pleased with your participation, class. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Now, class, who can define a regular verb? Anyone? Yes, Irene. Well, very good. Another one, Grace Ann. Very good. So now, who can define a regular verb? Anyone? Yes, Aplaon. Well, very good. Very good. Can you give me a present and past tense example of these two? Yes, Lorraine. How about you, Hernan? Very good. Grace Ann. Well, very good again. Okay, now, go to your same group. Choose one person from your group to act like a teacher. Then, the teacher will ask her or his students about what they did yesterday using past simple tense with some common regular verbs. That's the task for group 1. And for group 2, make a short talk show with a view of how good their vacation was. This task is need to use past tense questions. So are you excited? I hope everyone will cooperate to the group task because if you are not willing to participate, then you are free to go out. Okay. And I will give you 15 minutes to do your task.
A few moments later.
Well, very good group 1 and a very good group 2. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. Alright, so now, please get 1/4 sheet of paper. Let's have a test. So here, the direction. Tell whether the verb is regular or irregular. Circle the correct past tense form of each verb. So we have here 10 items. Alright. Everyone, thank you for attending my class today. Okay, hope to see you tomorrow. Okay, bye!